Hello, everyone. Nate here with Simply Sharp, and today these are my friend Brian's knives. And as you can see, if I can, you can see this edge is pretty chipped up. There are some Kais. Yeah, both of them have got some pretty gnarly chips in them. So I'm actually going to fix these two different ways. Both of them are going to be on the Work Sharp. And just because I bought this thing, I'm going to use it and see how we can do. So we're going to come in and, all right, let's see. Let's just pick one of these. All right, how dull is Brian? So that didn't even cut. It actually just ripped the thread out of this little thing. And that was at 733 grams. It's dull. This knife is a disaster. We're going to get it fixed up. And we're going to do this a couple of different ways. So first thing I'm going to do, so let's just, there we go, 733. All right. First way is we can actually use just the belt and just kind of grind it off and then put a new edge on it. And what I will do with this guy is I'm going to just put it on that little middle position just to give me a little bit more of an area in here. And we're just going to grind this right off. So I am using a Warn P120, which causes this to take quite a bit longer, but I don't want to mess up a perfectly good belt while doing this. So I always kind of keep a shameful amount of Warn P120s. Um, this actually doesn't produce that much heat. I'm on the second speed level here. Sometimes I'll go faster if I think I need to, but it doesn't really build up a whole heck of a lot of heat. I do have a spritzer bottle if it becomes an issue, but I'm always just kind of feeling it like it is just barely warm. So yeah, it's just kind of all right. So what I'm looking for, and I can still see it. I don't know if it's showing up on the camera. There is still a little bit of a chip in there. I want to get that to where I just can't really see that one anymore. The sharpening is going to take some additional metal off, but what you will often find is a lot of times when you start to put an edge back on it, you'll start to see chips again that you couldn't see previously. So I think it just makes sense to just go ahead and get that until it's gone, because I'm kind of confident some more are going to pop out of it. I am trying to move around laterally on the belt, so this way and that, so I'm not just wearing out the same portion of the belt. Still a little bit more to go. Um, Maybe like a little bit under medium pressure. Like I am definitely exerting a little bit of pressure here, not a lot, but more than I normally would when just sharpening. Okay. All right, I don't see any of those anymore, so I'm gonna get this guy up to 15 degrees. Still on level 2 here, and then I am gonna start to get an edge back on it, and I'm gonna use a decent amount of pressure. All right, so at this point, I'm going to do an inspection. And in fact, I don't really see any additional chips kind of starting to form here. So um, we've got no edge. I might actually normally give this a few more passes, but this poor belt is really quite worn out, so it's going to take a while. This process, especially with a worn belt, like this kind of putting an edge back in, this is absolutely going to build up heat. This note got not even close to hot to the touch, but you just need to be aware because it can go from, oh yeah, that's not really hot to, hey, that's really painfully hot in a surprisingly short amount of time. Um, Minimal number of passes, flipping it over, that gives the blade a chance to cool. There's a decent amount of metal in here, so it's going to obviously diffuse heat through here pretty well. Um, Obviously, a smaller knife is going to be much more prone to this, and you're definitely going to want to spritz those down when you're doing something like this. Um, all right, so I'm going to put this guy aside for a second, and I'm going to show you the other way I do this. Might be a little ambitious for the state that this belt is in, but we're going to find out. So these chips right here, not quite as egregious as what we had previously. Kind of not the best focus job there, but they're there. I don't know if they show up really well on the black, but there's some there and there and there. Now the other option, if they aren't a really deep chip, another option is I will take the angle down to like 25, and then I'm going to do several passes till I get that chip out at 25, and then I'm going to bring it back up to the angle I want to put in here. Again, a pretty decent amount of pressure. All right, so it's a little bit still in this one, a little bit, a couple more up here, so maybe another few passes. Let's throw this a bit more. All right. Try getting an edge, a working edge in. Okay, so just kind of still, I mean, warm, right, but not hot. And I don't see that there seem to be any more chips in here. So I think we're in good shape. I think we've got those all out. Now, the reason I do this is number one, I feel like it's a little bit more of a benign repair than just grinding that edge right off. And then number two, this can happen a lot more quickly. So if that's what I was going to do, I actually wouldn't have used this worn out shot P120. I would have used just whatever the P120 that I'm sharpening is, drop it down to 25, get that chip out, bring it up to the angle that I want the edge at, and then sharpen it as normal. So it is a little bit quicker that way. So What I'm going to do now is just finish putting an edge back on these knives and get them sharpened, and then we'll see how we did with them. I am going to switch it up to the P120 I've been working on. So this, one of the things I like about these belts, so these are Cubitron P120s. I get a lot of knives out of these belts. Almost certainly north of 100, probably 120, 130, sometimes even probably closer to 150 knives, just depending on what's happened to the belt. But I get a good amount of sharpenings out of each P120. This one, I was pretty busy this weekend or Sunday, threw it on, been kind of doing a few appointments. So this is probably in like the 100 knives range. So it's getting ready to be retired. So I'm already starting to feel a burr come up. I'm going to maybe just give it another couple passes here. And if those of you that are wondering what I'm doing here, the burr is grabbing my fingerprints. So if you're starting out in sharpening or just wondering what I'm doing, I'm just making sure that I can feel it grabbing my fingerprints. We'll see this in a little bit, but another test for a burr is just a microfiber cloth. Like, it's not going anywhere. Like, that is stuck to that knife. The burr is catching it. This is something that we're going to use in a test in a minute. Let me go ahead and get this guy good. This is, again, pretty light pressure. I'm not really putting a lot of pressure on here. And I'm still at that kind of second highest speed. I will often bump the speed up if, depending on the knife, like some of these knives are pretty dang stubborn, and so I don't want to be here for 10 minutes sharpening the same knife. I might bump the speed up. When I bump the speed up, you need to be cautious about your heat. Let's keep that in mind. I will say that a brand new, fresh Cubitron probably would have had this edge cut in the first couple of passes. But this is a no, blade is warm, but not hot. I think we're getting there. The light is also a sign of the burr. You can usually see it, although sometimes it'll psych you out, which is what it did there. I thought I saw that burr coming up, could not feel it. Now right there, I can feel on my thumb that it's not hot, but it's starting to get warm enough that I'm starting to think about it. So usually you can just let it off for a minute. Let maybe your fingers or hands absorb a little bit of the heat. That's an option. We can also spray it down if we need to, but again, you're just staying in front of the problem. Not hot at all, but again, it is amazing how fast you can go from warm to very hot, especially as these belts wear down. And I'm going to bump this up a smidge. There it is. All right, now I see it. Kind of coming in and out. Not sure if that is showing up on the camera or not. Pretty much see that burr almost all the way. And there's a couple spots here in the back. And then we're going to be done. Okay. Switch over this guy, let him cool down. So again, warm. Like, warm. I don't know what the temperature is. I'm going to guess under 90. But it is warm. Never even got close to hot, but you just got to stay on top of it. And it's an A30. This is going to be my refining step. This belt will absolutely heat a blade up. So this is pretty low pressure. Anyone kind of new to what I'm doing here, this is just a step that is doing two things. It's refining the scratch pattern that the 120 grit P120 put into it. And working the burr back and forth. That's going to help us with our burr removal. This belt is, I believe, around 800 grit. This is where I stop for kitchen knives. I think this leaves enough tooth in the knife that it is very effective cutting through food. You can obviously go higher. I personally never really ever go much higher than an A30, but you could go like an A16 or something that will get you like the 1,000, 1,200 grit area. It's a nice edge as well, but I think this is the sweet spot. And again, I'm just doing some refining. My eyesight's still good enough. I can see the scratch pattern. I can see the burr getting worked back and forth. I'm just kind of looking for that. If I had a rule of thumb, I maybe do like 6 to 8 passes per side, somewhere in there. Just, and then it also kind of comes into play like how extensively I had to repair the knife. If I really had to do something egregious, you might need a little bit more refining in there just to really help that edge out. This is a felt stropping belt, some blue compound. I like the blue compound because I find it provides the best balance between not gunking up the blade and burr removal. It makes a horrendous mess though. It is a very, very messy compound. Be aware of that, but I like it. Its only other downside is it does not work very well in cold weather. So if you're in a spot where cold weather is going to be in concern, you're going to want to find a way to keep that compound warmed up. If it's really cold and I wasn't able to keep the compound warm, I'll switch over to the green, which I like because it does a great job. Burr removal, it's fast, it's effective, it leaves a mess though. All right, so at this point, I think I probably still have some burr to remove on this knife, to be honest, but I just want to show you, other than a visual inspection, which, you know, I can actually see it now, the light's hitting the right way. Cutting paper will give me feedback on whether or not I still have a burr. I can kind of feel that drag, you can hear it, but this is my go-to, and this should slide, and it's not, right? It's definitely grabbing. So I have burr on there I need to remove. See that? Nice and smooth. That's what we want. So this one, you might not be able to see it, but I can feel it. I can feel there's still some drag in there. A little bit right in here. All right. Where were we at? 773, I believe. I don't even remember which one we tested, but line up. Okay, here we go. Ready? 129. So that is a massively sharper knife. Just ripped thread out before. 129 right now. This is gonna be so much better. Chips are ground out. There you go, Brian. You're gonna love these knives.